Welcome to the Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
How often do you notice your own growth? Yeah, you might not be aware of it, but there are actually 4 key phases of growth that you experience as you explore your life on this journey of abundance. I really feel strongly that it helps when you understand what's happening, because then you know what to celebrate. You know when you're making progress. So I'm going to shine a really bright light on this whole experience so that you see how your growth actually ignites a sacred spiral for you. This is what your life is here to do, is to spiral up in lots of different ways. Now, as you know, I always like to start by connecting our energy, yours, mine, with the God of your understanding. I like to call this the divine. So I use 2 powerful techniques. The first one is we're going to take 3 long, slow, deep breaths together. And as we breathe in through the nose, think the words, I am. As we breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. And then after that, I'm going to pause and read our intention. An intention is kind of like typing into a spiritual GPS. It's saying, here's where we want to go, and here's how we choose to feel about it. Then we're going to hold that intention in silence for 78 seconds to give the divine enough time to lock in on that signal. It's really important. Those 78 seconds can feel like a super long time, but there are 2 key things that I find help a lot. First of all, pick 2 or 3 words out of the intention that feel really high vibration to you. They feel expansive and uplifting. And repeat those 2 or 3 words over and over again to yourself during the 78 seconds. Then notice what's happening in your body. You might feel ripples on your skin, maybe a little bit of an itch somewhere, and any kind of sensation that you feel, anything happening in, on, or around your body is a sign that the divine has locked in to your new vibration and is ready to play. So let's take a moment to take our 3 long, slow, deep breaths together. Let's breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. In love and light, we hold the intention that we acknowledge, empower, and celebrate our growth as the embodiment of abundance, which manifests in our physical reality as vibrant health, rewarding relationships, and lasting prosperity. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. we give thanks, and so it is. Wow, that was pretty cool. I got some serious ripples going out around that. I found angels were hanging out with us, and that was just amazing. It's like all these different realities. This is so important that you understand the beauty of the entire process that you go through as a living, breathing entity. There is this sacred spiral of self that happens, and there are phases of growth that kind of start that spiral growing and start it to move for you. It's truly how you ascend through awareness, choice, and embodiment. Now, I'm going to take you through each of the 4 phases, and then for each phase, I'll talk about a real world example so you can see how it builds, okay? It's not all theory, this is reality. So, phase 1 is where you witness it, you witness something, and grateful curiosity draws your attention inward. Yeah, because you're thinking, wow, that is really cool. I wonder if I could do that. Your spiritual alignment is sparked because you think that could be my identity. That could be who I want to be, right? So you pause, you notice something new, and there's this feeling. It's like a trigger, a desire, a divine nudge. And you're just observing neutrally. You're not judging the situation. You're just witnessing it, thinking of it for yourself. You're seeing it in someone else and thinking of it for yourself. You're not taking action yet. You're awakening awareness. So this is really the turning point in the spiral where your energy begins to shift. Curiosity is the crack that lets the light in. You're realigning to truth. And what you're doing is you're using the power of presence. The power of presence is really helping your baseline energy come into focus. You start to notice that ratio of your limiting beliefs to your empowering beliefs, and you're not attached to it. You're not judging yourself. You're not beating yourself up. You're just going, wow, that seems really cool. I'm curious about that. I don't really know what to do yet, but you don't beat yourself up over it. It's like, of course I don't know what to do yet. I haven't figured this out yet, right? So you're giving yourself some grace. So let's take a real world example and use something that's a very common personal and spiritual desire that we want to change about ourselves. And I picked that I want to speak up more and share my truth. Now that could be in relationships, on social media, team meetings, during a family dinner. I mean, any time, any place, any situation where you feel vulnerable and you have an opportunity to grow when you choose to speak up more and share your truth. Okay. So phase 1 is where you witness it, right? Grateful curiosity has sparked your awareness, and the power of presence is in action. So the spiral movement, the spiritual spiral that's happening is you go from unconscious to conscious, right? Oh, your thoughts are, I've noticed that I hold back a lot. I don't always speak up. And I could if I wanted to, right? The feeling is where you're curious. You're maybe a little bit nervous, but you're aware that something is ready to shift. It's time. You're ready to grow. So what you do is you start observing your internal thoughts while you're in conversation with people. Just notice what you're saying to yourself. Notice what you're thinking. And then journal about any patterns that you see coming up. This is strictly the observation phase. And the better you can get out of judgment and into observation, you are strictly witnessing, observing what's happening. That's awesome. What happens when you're in that space is you experience subtle ahas, insights, synchronicities around speaking your truth. And your awareness starts to rise. Spiritual alignment is the beginning because that's when you're tuning inward. You're noticing a limiting belief that it's not safe to be seen, and you're realizing that it's time for you to evolve beyond that. Okay. So, phase one in the growth cycle is witness it. Phase two is where you actually experience it. You start to engage directly. You're taking aligned action with who you choose to be. This is where conscious action begins. You're trying out a new belief, a new habit, a new way of being. So this phase is really good at helping you identify areas where you feel resistance. You've got a shadow. You've got old patterns that typically run every time you're in the situation. So you learn through trial and error what is aligned and what is out of alignment. This brings your awareness really to light. The spiral, the spiritual spiral starts to really deepen here, and you have a choice. You can either retreat or you can recommit, right? You either retreat and you don't share your truth, you don't speak up, or you recommit to sharing the fullness of who you are, even though it makes you nervous. Now, this is a very messy and beautiful phase. It's where you wobble. Then you remember, oh, yeah, shoot, I really want to share my truth. And then you stretch. And in that stretch, your vibration shifts as long as you stay present. So now, not only are you using the power of presence, you add in the power of receiving because you start choosing new beliefs and holding clearer intentions. So your energy becomes much more coherent. Now, let's go back to that real world example. I want to speak up more and share my truth. Trying it out in this experience it phase reveals your resistance. You're using the power of presence and the power of receiving, and there's a tension between your old and new beliefs that pops up from time to time. So the thoughts that you have might be along the lines of, I'd really like to say something, but what if they judge me? You might be feeling really vulnerable and have some self-doubt, maybe even frustration or fear that you find yourself stuck in this situation fairly often. So what you start doing is you start taking small risks. Maybe you post something really honest on Facebook. Maybe you set a gentle boundary with someone. You're taking small actions to really share your authentic truth. And what you end up experiencing, there's a little bit of discomfort, but honestly, there's also some validation that shows up. You might feel a bit exposed, but you also start to feel empowered. This is the proving ground because you're choosing new beliefs. You're recommitting over and over again to the belief, my voice matters. And you're learning through action where your limiting beliefs might still have a little bit of a grip on you. And so your mistakes feel kind of challenging. They're a little unpleasant, but the growth that you are witnessing is undeniable and so worth it. Awesome. All right. So phase one is where you witness it. Phase two is where you experience it. Phase three is where you live it. You recommit, you refine, you stabilize. You are using both spiritual alignment and conscious action woven together. You are practicing all the time, consistently, and you feel the difference every time you don't show up aligned with this new belief. My voice matters. You really notice it. Now, you do plateau sometimes, but you never panic over that because you know the path. You stop seeking more information. You start applying what you know. So this is where that sacred spiral upward momentum really kicks in. You're spiraling higher because your frequency is sustaining and reinforcing your growth. Now you've added two more powers of abundance. You've added the power of co-creation, because your emotional attention aligns with your intention. My voice matters. And you're using the power of authentic self leadership. You guide yourself internally instead of constantly being externally referenced, worrying about what everybody else thinks. No, I honor my voice. That's how you roll. Okay, so let's go back to our real world example. I want to speak up more and share my truth. Phase 3 is live it. This is where repetition creates resonance. Again, you're leveraging the powers of co-creation and authentic self-leadership so that you rise into emotional congruence. You start having thoughts like, you know what? Speaking up and sharing my truth is getting a lot easier. Sometimes my voice shakes a little bit. I'm still a little bit nervous about sharing my thoughts, but I can do this. I can do this. So you start to feel really proud of yourself. You feel grounded. Occasionally, you feel a little stretched out of your comfort zone, but you also feel really resilient. It's like you're noticing that you're stretching and you're owning it. You're feeling your power. So, what you're doing is you're speaking up much more regularly. You reflect, you tweak, and you support others to make sure that they are sharing their voice, their valuable voice, and helping them realize how valuable their voice really is. So, what you experience is much deeper connections with people, right? They get to know the real you because you're being more fully present. You get increased confidence, and this whole ripple effect starts to happen. Spiritual alignment fuels conscious action. They're emotionally regulated and navigating discomfort with compassion, right? That's what happens. You start to shift out of effort into embodiment in progress, right? You notice there are times when you embody and times when you slip a little bit. So you're naturally drawn to embody more and more and more. So the phase 1 of growth is to witness it. Phase 2 of growth is to experience it. Phase 3 of growth is to live it. Now we're on phase 4. This is where you actually embody it. This isn't something you do. This is who you are. It's your new identity. It is full coherence. You are a complete and perfect energetic match to what you desire. Your thoughts, your words, your actions are unified. You naturally and automatically reflect your truth. It's not from a place of performance. This is your true presence. It's your essence. It's your being. At this level, you magnetize blessings. You lead by being. And you deepen into new spirals of growth as your embodied identity continues to evolve. Now you start to notice new things. You start to witness new growth opportunities. Now that I've mastered my voice, what else is present for me? Right? So now, not only are you using the power of presence and the power of receiving and the power of co-creating and the power of authentic self-leadership, now you add the power of manifestation. You experience ease and flow and synchronicity because your inner state is being reflected outward in increasingly miraculous ways. Let's look at that real world example. I want to speak up more and share my truth. You know, you're radiating an incredible frequency outward. Your thinking is so aligned with, I love how I speak my truth and I connect with others now because I'm being my real, true, authentic self. And they love me for being who I am. And I love myself more because this is who I am. And I'm owning my truth. I'm owning who I am. So you feel free, totally free to be yourself while being aligned and grateful for the opportunity to be who you are. You feel and experience yourself as someone who is really magnetic because you've stopped hiding. You've stopped pretending. You are authentically you in every moment. So what you're doing is you're leading with clarity. And frankly, you're leading by example. You start to empower others to follow suit. There's no second guessing. There's no waffling. There's no having to think about it. This is who you are. So what happens is you start to experience invitations, opportunities, affirmation. There's an energetic match to this new identity of who you are. You're not just trying to speak your truth. This is who you are. And your abundance flows through relationships, through your work, through self-trust. You are the embodiment of aligned abundance and all 5 powers of abundance. So let me do a quick little recap here. As you witness it being whatever it is you choose to experience, as you witness it, you initiate alignment by using your power of presence and noticing limiting beliefs that show up without any judgment, strictly in a state of awareness. As you experience it, you activate the spiral of ascension by using the power of receiving and deliberately choosing empowering beliefs despite resistance that shows up. You're experiencing it, you're practicing it. Then, as you live it, you sustain that spiral ascension by adding in the powers of co-creation and authentic self-leadership. So you start to feel an emotional shift and you're continually taking consistent action. You are in spiritual alignment with conscious action all the time. Then, as you embody it, you radiate the spiral even farther. You're using the power of manifestation and becoming the frequency that attracts aligned results. This really matters. It really matters. This entire integration of growth is how that sacred spiral of self unfolds in your life. This is how you sacredly become who you truly are. This is about your personal development. And you use the 5 powers of abundance as tools to climb each of these phases of growth with grace. The spiral isn't something that we move through just once. We spiral up every time we recommit to who we choose to be, what we choose to experience, and that intention is truly who we choose to be and what we choose to experience. And then we expand every time we choose love over fear. And we try again, and we try again, and we try again. And we embody more each time we align within and we act from that truth. So I'm going to invite you to choose a growth area. Identify something that you're personally growing into. Maybe it's setting boundaries or recommitting to your intention. Maybe it's a commitment to receiving money. Anything that you choose to grow into, just pick one area and then reflect on where you are in that growth phase. Are you in the phase of witnessing? Are you in the phase of experiencing? The phase of living? Or the phase of embodying? Then take a look at those 5 powers of abundance and identify which ones you want to focus on right now. Is it the power of presence, where you're aware of the ratio of limiting beliefs to empowering beliefs, and you're really stepping in to more and more empowering beliefs? Is it the power of receiving, where you're setting your intention very clearly for what you choose to receive and continually recommitting to that intention? Is it the power of co-creating, where you're focusing your attention on everything that aligns with your intention? Is it the power of authentic self-leadership, where you're truly internally resourced instead of being externally referenced? Maybe it's the power of manifestation, where you are in complete alignment with spiritual alignment, so you take conscious action in every moment. Wherever you are, This is the perfect place for you to be. And the very first step is awareness. Stick around. We're going to activate abundance in just a minute. Wow. I really hope you enjoyed those 4 phases of growth and how this creates a spiritual spiral for you, a spiritual spiral of expansion and growth, because that's what you're here for, to continually expand and grow. So why not enjoy it by understanding where you are in the process? There's no wrong place to be. This is just where you are. And then you get to choose, superpower of choice, where you want to go next. So step 1 is gratitude. I'm so grateful for having the ability to know where I am on whatever it is I'm working on. There's usually multiple things that I'm working on, and it helps when I can take each one in turn and look at them as discrete things, like I choose to share my voice. And I got to tell you, this was a growth area for me, because I used to feel really awkward and uncomfortable talking about my conversations with the divine and all the things that came through for me and sharing these ideas with you. Because let me tell you, those 4 phases of growth, that was a divine download. That was a divine download. And I realized that I needed to share that with you. And having the courage to share that is so cool, because it's not about me. When I have the courage to share my voice, it's not about me. It's because I truly desire to serve you. That's why I'm sharing this. It's because I see the opportunity for you, and I don't want you to get stuck where you are. I want you to grow because it feels so good when you start to master new skills like sharing your voice. So step 1 is gratitude. Step 2 is to acknowledge something that's a little bit of an aha for you. Now, I did not say this overtly, but I did talk about acknowledging those 5 powers of abundance and how they're showing up for you. And I hope you remember a story that I've shared many times where I received a message from the divine that said, when you deny your power is denied to you. When you acknowledge your power is shown to you. You are more powerful than you can imagine. Well, these 4 phases of growth are how you acknowledge your power. I know, isn't that cool? Everything's connected. I tell you, I keep getting these dots, and then eventually I connect the dots, and it's like, wow, that's really cool how that all comes together. Yeah, these 4 phases, witness, experience, live, and embody, those 4 phases are how you acknowledge your power. And which powers are you acknowledging? You're acknowledging the power of presence, the power of receiving, the power of co-creating, the power of authentic self-leadership, the power of manifestation. Those are 4 powers that you control, and you can manifest what you choose as long as you know where you are. So isn't it awesome that now you have a very clear roadmap, a step-by-step guide, so you know where you are on your journey of growth? That's awesome. That's what I'm acknowledging. This is how we acknowledge our power. Who knew? Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, obviously, when I know where I am, then I have a pretty good idea of where I'm going next. Yeah. If I'm stuck in the witnessing thing and I'm not taking action, either it's something that I've truly decided that's not the identity I choose to have, or it's something where I've got a big limiting belief that's getting in the way. And that's really good news for me to know, because then I can remove that limiting belief. I can choose an empowering belief and repeat that over and over and over again, replacing the limiting belief every time it comes up, because that repetition leads to reality. I can replace any limiting belief as long as I know it's there. So every single one of these stages has untold blessings for me. How cool is that? Step 4, we're going to activate it. There are 3 different ways I've identified so far where you can take a concept and turn it into physical, tangible reality. The first way is schedule time to get it done. Now, I include journaling with this because you got to schedule time to journal or you're not going to do it. And it's really powerful. When you journal, you can write down what's happening in your life, what you're working on, what your intention is, and what's showing up for you. And through that process, you can identify where you are in the 4 stages of growth, the 4 phases of growth. And once you know where you are, then you know what's next. Yay! That's a big win. The second way to activate abundance is to create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe. Either one of those is just a great way for you to remind yourself, I am growing. And this is the thing that I'm working on. I am deliberately choosing to share my voice because I know my voice matters. It is a message for me, and it's also a message for the person that I'm collaborating with. And it's important that I get that message out. The divine is asking me to share my voice and share my truth in a loving, supportive, empowering way. So I am committed to that. And every time I cross my fingers or I tug on my earlobe, this is who I'm choosing to be. This is how I'm choosing to grow. Yeah. The third way to activate abundance is that declare what it is you're wanting to do, and especially with an abundance buddy, an accountability buddy, somebody who knows how you want to show up because you've declared it. This is whom I'm committing to be, and this is my intention. I choose to lovingly share my voice so that people understand where I'm coming from and how I'm trying to empower this experience for myself and for others. So those are the 3 different ways that I can encourage myself to grow and witness my own growth. Step 5, celebrate your progress. Isn't this amazing? This is how the journey works. This is how the journey of your life, the journey of abundance happens, is through continual ongoing growth. And there are many things that you're working on simultaneously, and some of them are at different levels, different phases in the growth experience. And it's all perfect. Wherever you are, it's absolutely perfect because this is what abundance looks like. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.